Belts snapped and the cart rattled, coffee lids trembling on their trays. In first class, an attendant's voice cut sharp. "Sir, it's time to move." Elias Ward's hands stayed on the armrests, unmoved, his gaze fixed ahead. He sat straight, one palm on the armrest, eyes steady as shoreline rock. "My ticket's correct," he answered, voice low and sanded by years. "Stand up, please." A security agent crowded the aisle, plastic badge gleaming. "We can sort it out up front." "Up front's right here," a man across the aisle murmured. The agent's jaw set. "Sir." He reached for the handle of Elias's small bag. Farther back, the beverage cart bumped a seat and squeaked to a stop. "Take the bag," Elias said evenly. "Not my dignity." "Why's he in first?" someone whispered. Maybe he upgraded, another voice said, brittle with judgment. "Sir, we need you to cooperate." The attendant pressed. "I am," Elias said. "Tell me what's wrong on your screen." "Not here," the agent replied. "Aisle now." The agent tugged. Elias stood with quiet care shoes planted, hands open. The collar of his shirt pulled as he rose, exposing the pale edge of weathered skin at the base of his neck. A darker shape showed for a breath, a coil of ink curved like tide around metal. Then the fabric fell back. "Come on," the agent said, guiding him into the aisle. "Hey, that's not right," said a woman 2 rows back. "It's a mistake, ma'am," the attendant answered. "We'll reseat him shortly." "You hear that?" a younger passenger muttered to his phone. "He's getting bounced from first." "I'm facing forward," Elias said quietly. "Say what you need and say it plain." "Do you need my ID?" he asked. "We've got it," the agent said. "Walk, please." "Let him check his ticket again," the man across the aisle added. "Takes 10 seconds, sir," the attendant warned. "Please remain seated." "He doesn't belong here," someone hissed. "I can walk," Elias told the agent. "But I won't be hurried." "Excuse me, I won't be hurried." "Now isn't the time for stubborn," the agent said. "Maybe it is," the woman 2 rows back replied. "Let's go," the agent said, fingers whitening. Elias stepped measured into the carpeted aisle. Seatbacks brushed his sleeve. A toddler blinked up cracker crumbs on his shirt like a tiny medal. "Hey there," Elias said softly. "Big trip, sir!" Eyes forward, the agent barked. "Don't bark at him," the woman snapped. "Use your inside voice, ma'am, please," the attendant said. "We're on a timeline." "Everybody's on a timeline," the man across the aisle said. "Respect doesn't take long." The cart squeaked again. "Keep it civil," another passenger warned. "We all paid for this seat time." Elias moved as if the floor were a dock, and he a man who had learned to keep balance when the boat pitched. The collar shifted once more. A faint coil showed and vanished. "Is that the college kid?" whispered, angling his phone. "Keep moving." The agent ordered. "Wait," the kid murmured. "I've seen that shape." "Tell me what you need me to understand," Elias said. "That you're in the wrong seat. Or that the screen is." "You're blocking the aisle," the attendant said. "We need compliance." "You'll have it," Elias said. "You have had it." "Sir, do you need anything?" a passenger asked. "Water, Henk." "You," Elias said. "I'm fine." "Film it," someone whispered. "Please don't film," the attendant said quickly. "It's already happening," the kid answered. The agent stepped closer, shoulder nearly touching Elias's chest. "Last time walk. If we walk," Elias said, lifting his chin, "we walk without shame." "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm a person, not a problem." The hum thickened. The pilot's door latched up front. "Captain's out," someone breathed. "Mind your seat," another replied. "Let the crew handle it." Crew is handling it, the woman said, calmer now, by remembering their manners. Sir, the attendant said, softer. Let's clear the aisle. We will, Elias said. In a moment. Move it, someone near the bulkhead muttered. Old man. Enough, the woman snapped. Show a little respect. The agent shifted his grip to Elias's sleeve. The fabric tugged, and for a heartbeat longer, the ink at his neckline stood in the stale, light serpent curve and forked memory before the collar fell back. Did you see that? The kid whispered, camera trembling. See what? Nothing, the agent said flatly. Keep walking. Elias set his feet shoulder-width and braced. Say the reason, he told the agent. Say it where folks can hear. The reason is procedure. Then your procedure can wait for courtesy. A murmur rolled down the row like weather over wheat. Let him stand. A second, a gray-haired man said. He's not hurting anyone. Rules are rules, the agent muttered, but his voice lost heat. He felt the plane's quiet gather the eyes, the judgment, the mercies. Everyone's watching, someone breathed. The aisle was a road, and he stood in it steady as a mile marker. He did not raise his voice. He did not drop his gaze. He held. The chime pinged overhead, a polite little bell that asked for calm. It barely dented the hush. First class breathed in short, careful sips. Keep walking, sir, the attendant said, voice pressed flat. I'll stand, Elias replied, one hand resting on the seatback. You can look again. A young man 2 rows back lifted his phone, elbows tucked in. I'm just recording, he whispered to the woman beside him. For context. Don't film him, she said. I'm filming them. Please, the attendant warned, no photography. It's already everywhere, the young man murmured. I'm Jesse. Jesse, the woman said. Put it away. Jesse didn't. He pinched to zoom, breath held. The lens found the back of Elias's neck, where the collar had slipped, found the blur of old ink peeking and hiding like a shy tide. Is that a trident, sir? The security agent said to Elias. Step forward. Tell me the error first, Elias answered. Then I'll step. The error is you, someone muttered. Hey, a gray-haired man snapped, mind your mouth. The cart creaked as a second attendant nudged it back. Plastic cups chimed in their sleeve. Down aisle a baby squeaked, and the sound landed like a mercy on the tight air. Water, the gray-haired man asked Elias. You look like you could use some. I could, Elias said. Thank you. The attendant hesitated, then poured. Ice tapped the cup. The man offered it across the aisle with 2 hands like you hand someone a memory. Elias accepted and sipped. The water tasted faintly of paper and sky. See, the man said softly. Not hard to be decent. We have procedures, the agent said. So do human beings, the woman replied. Jesse edged into the row gap. Sir, he whispered toward Elias, do you want me to stop recording? Do what's right, Elias said. How would I know? You already do. The attendant drew a breath. Passengers, please be seated. We are seated, the woman said. We're also watching. Eyes forward, the agent snapped. Sir, move! Elias shifted his shoulders, rolling a knot loose, and straightened his collar with 2 fingertips, almost absent-minded. The motion lifted the fabric and showed more of the ink, a dark coil, a tooth of black, the hint of a forked tail. Jesse's lens drifted closer and held. Oh, he breathed to himself and to the internet. Oh, wow. What the woman asked. Nothing. Maybe nothing. Say it, the gray-haired man urged. I think I've seen that shape, Jesse whispered. On a History Channel clip. Or a book cover in the library foyer. Some old unit. Sir, the agent said again, tighter walk. What does your screen show? Elias asked. It shows reassign, the attendant said, softer now. That's all. Reassign me with words, then Elias replied. Not with hands. Jesse swallowed. Sir, can I ask, did you serve? The agent cut him a look. Not your business. It is the gray-haired man said. If we're going to throw a man out of a seat, we can let him answer one question. Elias turned his head just enough to meet Jesse's eyes. They were earnest and a little scared the way eyes get when they realize they're a witness. Long time ago, Elias said. Jesse nodded, phone steady. Navy. Long time ago, Elias repeated. The attendant's radio crackled a thin insect sound under the ceiling. We need the aisle clear, she said, but it lacked the earlier iron. Then clear it with respect, the woman said. Ma'am, say please, she added, gentle but decided. It helps. Please, the attendant said almost to herself. Please. Elias stepped one more pace, careful setting his feet, as if the carpet had memory. He smoothed the front of his shirt, then the collar again, and the ink flashed once more long enough for a shape to settle in Jesse's mind like an anchor dropping. Seal, he mouthed. I swear that's Seal. Don't swear, the woman said, but her voice was softer now. Just breathe. Sir, the agent said to Elias, you can explain yourself to the gate. I just did, Elias said. You didn't hear me. I heard you. Then say back what you heard. The agent blinked. You said your ticket's correct, and that I'm cooperating. By standing here. By standing here. Semantics, the agent muttered. Semantics is what orders are made of, the gray-haired man said. Words matter. From the galley, the muted thump of a door latch carried forward. Jesse's lens twitched toward it, then back to the ink. He lifted the phone higher. Don't zoom that much, the woman said. Give the man privacy. I'm trying, Jesse said. I want the truth. Truth doesn't hide from manners, she replied. Elias shifted the cup to his left hand. Young man, he said without turning, remember this. What? Ask the question that lifts someone. What would that be right now? Would you like my seat? The gray-haired man offered a smile hitching at the corner of his mouth. Jesse half smiled back. I would. But he's already in it. Was someone muttered. Elias took another sip. Thank you for the water, he said to the attendant. You're welcome, she said, almost surprised to hear herself say it. The chime pinged again. Overhead bins clicked as a late bag settled. The pressurized air had that faint recycled coffee smell that lives in airplanes the way salt lives in docks. Folks, the agent said, let's not drag this out. The woman's eyebrows lifted. Poor choice of words. Ma'am. Use better ones, she said. We're all listening. The gray-haired man leaned across the aisle a fraction. Son, he told the agent, nobody's going to miss their connection because you took 10 seconds to treat a person like a person. Jesse steadied his phone and spoke quietly for his own record. Man stands in aisle. Agent pushing procedure. Tattoo at the collar. Could be nothing. Feels like something. Feels like respect, the woman said. Feels overdue, the gray-haired man added. The attendant's eyes slipped just for a moment to the cockpit door. Her voice thinned. We need to move along. Then we'll move together, Elias said. He lowered the empty cup to the armrest and set it upright. His fingers were steady. The collar lay flat again, hiding the coil. "Sir," the agent said, almost weary now, "please." "I hear your please," Elias answered. "I return one to you." "Return one." "Please say the reason out loud." "Because the system says." "The system can say sorry." "Two," the woman murmured. Jesse's phone wobbled with a small tremor in his hand. I think I know," he said. "Know what the gray-haired man asked. What that ink is." "Keep that to yourself," the agent warned. "Why, because I said so, not good enough," the woman said. Elias adjusted his cuff. "Young man," he said to Jesse, "hold your answer until it helps, not before." Jesse nodded, cheeks warm. "Yes, sir." The plane exhaled in a soft, collective sigh, the way a room does when it senses a change before it can name it. Somewhere behind the bulkhead, a hinge whispered. Jesse angled the lens toward the front. "What is it?" the woman asked. "Door," Jesse whispered. "I think the cockpit door just unlatched." He held the frame steady on the dark seam of the doorway. The hum of the cabin burred low. Ice settled in the abandoned cup with a tiny clink. Elias's hand moved once more to his collar, not to reveal anything, just to set it right. Then, just a sliver, someone's eyes appeared in the crack of the cockpit door, keen and narrowing, taking the aisle in with a pilot's quick accounting. Jesse didn't speak. He didn't need to. The camera saw, and his breath said the rest. The aisle held its breath. Seats creaked in little protests, leather answering leather, as people adjusted to watch. "Enough delay," the security agent said, voice sharpened to a point. "Sir, you're coming with me." Elias set the empty cup upright on the armrest and folded his hands around the small bag at his feet. "Tell me what changed," he said. "Nothing changed," the agent snapped. "You are in the wrong place. Or your readout is," the gray-haired man said. "Sir, stay out of it," the agent warned. "I paid for quiet," someone muttered. "This is first class." "Then show first-class manners," the woman replied. The overhead chime did not ring this time. Instead, there was the low electrical hum that lives inside airplanes, a kind of held note. Jesse's phone camera hovered at shoulder height, framing the angle of Elias's collar. "Sir," the attendant tried again, "please step forward to the galley. We'll rescan you there." "You can look right here," Elias said. "There's light enough." "Move," the agent said. His hand brushed Elias's sleeve, pushing. "Hey, Jesse," blurted, "don't manhandle him." "Put the phone down," the agent said. "I'm documenting." "You're interfering." "I'm witnessing," Jesse shot back. "Witness quietly," the attendant pleaded. "Please." The agent bent to yank Elias's bag free from under the seat. Elias's hand landed first one finger over the handle. "I'll carry it," he said. "You're being removed," the agent said. "We'll carry your items." "I'll carry it," Elias repeated, calm as an evening lake. "Just go," a man near the bulkhead hissed. "Old man doesn't belong here." The words dropped like a wrench. Air tightened. The gray-haired man turned steady. "Take that back." "I won't," the bulkhead man said. "He shouldn't be here." Why, the woman asked, soft and dangerous. "Because he's old, because rules are rules. Rules without respect are just noise." "Ma'am," the attendant said, "please don't escalate." "I'm lowering the temperature," she answered. "Try it." The agent tugged harder at the bag. The motion jostled Elias, tipping him a half step. He steadied himself and with a small nod to no one bent and picked the bag up himself, an ordinary act done deliberately, as if to say, A person can still decide who holds his handles. Stop yanking, Jesse said. You're on camera. Turn it off, the agent ordered. Ask nicer, the woman said. Turn it off, please, the attendant corrected. Breath thin. We need to get moving. Then move with care, the gray-haired man said. Everyone here knows what care looks like. Elias eased the bag into the aisle, squared his shoulders, and adjusted his collar to settle the fabric. The gesture lifted cloth, and the dark curl of ink appeared again, sharper in the cabin light, coil around a prong, a tooth of black against sun-faded skin. Jesse inhaled. I knew it, he whispered to his lens. I think I know it. What do you think you know? The bulkhead man sneered. Something you should respect, the woman answered. Respect is paid, not owed, he said. It's often earned before you were born, she replied. Quiet, the agent snapped. All of you. Say the reason, Elias told him, voice even. Say it whole. Misassignment. That's not a reason. That's a word. Sir, the attendant said, softer now. Please, if we go to the galley, we can fix it. You can fix it here, Elias said. With words, a baby fussed and quieted. A soft clink from the abandoned cup marked the tremor of the plane's long body. The hum rose a fraction like a choir taking breath. Jesse lowered the phone a few inches, eyes bright. Sir, he whispered. If I'm right, if the ink is what I think, do you want me to say it? Hold it, Elias said. Hold it until it helps. The gray-haired man nodded. That's wisdom. The bulkhead man snorted. It's stalling. It's dignity, the woman said. The agent leaned in so close his badge pressed the fabric near Elias's heart. Final time, he said. Walk. Elias didn't flinch. I will walk, he said, but I won't be pushed. Same thing. It isn't. Sir. Tell me this, Elias said. If I were your father, would you talk to me like this? The agent's mouth opened and closed. Procedure doesn't care about fathers. Then people must, Elias said. Stop the sermon, the bulkhead man muttered. Stop the sneer, the gray-haired man returned. Both of you, the attendant pleaded. Please. Jesse slid 1 foot back, bracing himself as if the floor might pitch. I'm at 5 minutes, he whispered to the recording. Agent pushing. Passenger insult. Ink visible. Man steady. You're not a reporter, the bulkhead man said. No, Jesse said. I'm a witness. Same thing when history is small, the woman murmured. The agent reached again, a quick, impatient jerk at the bag. Elias's hand moved first gentle, but firm, reclaiming the handle. I told you, he said. I'll carry it. Seatbacks creaked as people leaned, drawn tight by a string of attention. Someone coughed, the sound dry as a page turned in an old book. Coffee smell floated up from somewhere behind. Sir, the attendant said, we're losing time. We're investing it, the gray-haired man answered. In what? The bulkhead man scoffed. In decency, the woman said. A new sound joined the hum, a small metallic click, distant but unmistakable, the cockpit latch. Heads tilted, subtle as grass in wind. Jesse's camera drifted toward the front, then back to the line of ink at the base of Elias's neck. Don't, the agent warned. Eyes on me. I'll look where respect is, Jesse said, barely above a breath. Respect, the bulkhead man scoffed. For what an old tattoo, for what it means, the woman said. What does it mean? He pressed. Quiet, the gray-haired man said. Let the man say it when he's ready. Elias lifted his chin a fraction, not to defy, but to stand inside himself. Young man, he said to Jesse without turning, remember, ask the question that lifts someone. Jesse finished softly. Yes. Then here's mine, Jesse whispered, eyes on the collar. How did you learn to stand like that? On water, Elias said. The agent frowned. What balance, Elias said. It's a practice. The plane seemed to hear the word. For a breath even, the hum felt balanced. The aisle widened and narrowed in the mind, not the eye. Inside that held space, the insult from the bulkhead hung small and lonely. Enough poetry, the bulkhead man grumbled. Move him. Don't touch him, the woman said. Try and stop me, he said, half rising. You sit, the gray-haired man said, and the simple authority in his voice put weight in the word. The bulkhead man sank back, scowling. The agent's radio hissed. He looked toward the galley and then toward the cockpit. Something in his shoulders changed, a stiffness loosening under invisible weather. Sir, he said to Elias, and this time the word carried less grit. Please, Elias nodded once. There's your word. The agent swallowed. Please, he repeated softer. Elias shifted his bag an inch as if to step. Then the cockpit door moved, a slim opening, a triangle of light. A pair of eyes, pilot sharp, found the aisle, found the agent's grip, found the crowd, and finally found the place where the collar had fallen a hair's breadth low. The eyes stopped there. They narrowed, reading a language most people never learn to read. The pilot's hand touched the edge of the door knuckles, pale. His breath gathered like someone about to speak in a quiet church. Jesse's camera rose steady now. Oh, he whispered the word, landing like a small bell. The pilot stepped forward. The cockpit door opened no wider than a hand, and yet the whole cabin seemed to lean toward it, as if pulled by a tide that nobody could see. The pilot's eyes took a quiet inventory, agent, attendant, passengers, and then settled on the faint coil at the base of the old man's neck. He pushed the door farther and stepped out, shoulders squared in that unhurried way of people who have learned to carry weight without showing strain. Captain, the attendant breathed. Hold, he said, not loud, but the word carried the way a bell does, clean, final. The security agent let the bag handle droop. Sir, we've got a misassignment. Name, the pilot said, eyes still on the ink. Elias Ward, the gray-haired man supplied softly. Mr. Ward, the pilot said, tasting the syllables like a verification code he already knew by heart. Sir, would you turn slightly? Elias didn't speak. He didn't need to. He inclined his head a fraction and adjusted his collar, not to hide, not to show, only to set it right. The fabric moved. The ink came into full light, serpent's curve around a trident's stem lines, softened by sun and salt and years. The cabin exhaled as one. The pilot's posture changed by an inch and a lifetime. His chin lifted. His right hand rose to the brim of memory and stopped there, not at his cap, but at his temple, the old salute, precise, reverent, unmistakable. Stop, he said, and now the word rang bright as a command light. Nobody touches this man. The agent froze. The attendant's eyes filled before she could blink them clear. Jesse's phone lowered, then steadied again, as if the lens itself wanted to stand at attention. Sir, the agent managed. Hands off, the pilot said. Now. The agent released the bag as if it had grown hot. Captain, the woman 2 rows back whispered. Is it? What we think, the pilot didn't answer her. He took one measured step toward Elias, then another, until the aisle made a small, solemn corridor between them. He looked at the tattoo the way some people look at a church window, reading more than the picture, reading the light. When he spoke, it was with the quiet of a man reporting weather to a room full of sailors. "There are marks you get in a shop on shore," he said, "and there are marks you earn in water nobody charts. This one," he paused, "this one you don't see much anymore." Jesse swallowed. "Dao hiu a. Kong ai con dao tru nyung bong ma," he whispered for his own record, the words slipping out in the borrowed cadence of a story he once heard. The pilot's mouth tilted. He had heard the line and let it stand. He turned slightly so his words met the agent first, and then the rows behind him. "But Ward is to remain in his seat," he said. "In this cabin," with an apology. "Captain," the agent said, voice tinny now. "The system is wrong," the pilot said simply. "And we will be right." He faced Elias again. "Sir, may I?" He extended his left hand, not to touch the man, but to invite him back the few inches he had been pushed from his place. Elias shifted small as a tide change and stepped back to the edge of his seat. He did not sit yet. He stood because standing was what the moment asked of him. The pilot addressed the cabin without raising his voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, we had an error. We will correct it. In the meantime, you will show this man respect." He looked at the agent. "Begin by doing so yourself." Yes, Captain," the agent said. "Sir, Mr. Ward, my apologies." Elias inclined his head once. "Accepted," he said quietly. The cabin, tuned to a hush, waited for something else. Orientation, explanation, a map. The pilot offered only enough. There were units, he said, that swam before the teams had a name. They did their work in water that took more than it gave. Some of those men carried small signs among themselves, reminders not for others, for each other. Not many left now. He let the rest be silence because that was where it belonged. The woman wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. "Thank you," she said, not sure whether she meant the pilot, the man, or the quiet itself. The bulkhead passenger who had hissed before stared at his hands. "I didn't know," he muttered. "No, now," the gray-haired man said, not unkindly. Jesse raised his phone, then lowered it again. "Captain," he asked, "should I stop recording film, or don't?" The pilot said, eyes still on Elias. "But remember what you're filming. This isn't outrage. It's repair." The word settled like a plumb line. Repair. People nodded without meaning to. The attendant found her voice. "Mr. Ward," she said, "would you like water, coffee? Anything." "I'm fine," Elias said. Then, as if on second thought, "Thank you." The pilot stepped to the agent's side. "We're going to escort the error back to the galley," he said. "You are going to fix it. Then you are going to come back and apologize again, not because you were told to, but because you understand." "I do," the agent said. His face had lost its hard corners. "And you," the pilot said to the bulkhead passenger, not unkindly, "either are going to sit with the knowledge that you said a thing you can't unsay. You'll know what to do with that." The man nodded, a small, chastened motion. "Captain," the attendant asked, "do you want me to reseat?" "No reseats," the pilot said gently. "We hold what's right." He looked to Elias once more, as if to make sure the old man's center was steady. It was. Elias stood with his bag in his own hand, and a dignity that needed no announcement. Captain Jesse said, Was he?" The pilot spared the boy a glance and an answer shaped like a lesson. "Sometimes the best thing you can say," he told him, "is nothing. Let the person carry his own story." Then he added, as if giving the boy a tool, "When it helps, you'll know." Jesse nodded, chastened and grateful in the same breath. The pilot's eyes softened, not with sentiment, but with respect that had been earned somewhere far from any runway. Then he did something few had ever seen in an aisle like this. He brought his heels together and gave Elias the clean, perfect salute of one professional recognizing another, not for show, not for passengers, but because that is what men do when they meet a certain kind of courage. Elias did not return it in kind. He did something that fit him. He set his bag down, and with the smallest bow of the head, he accepted what was being given. The cabin made a sound you rarely hear up there, a collective breath that becomes a kind of yes. The choir in the engines seemed to lift half a note. "Thank you, Captain," the woman said again, stronger. "Thank Mr. Ward," the pilot corrected, and he meant it. The agent and attendant began to edge toward the galley, chastened by the simple weight of the moment. The pilot stayed one heartbeat longer. "Mr. Ward," he said softly, so only the nearby rows could hear. "For what it's worth, my father taught me to read that mark. He kept a photo in a drawer. Men on a beach water like hammered tin faces you couldn't quite see. When he told the story, he said the bravest men he ever met went where nobody would know they'd been." He smiled a little. "I know when I'm standing near one." Elias's eyes, pale and steady, held the pilot's for a second that counted. "Then your father taught you well," he said. The pilot nodded. "We'll make this right." He stepped back a pace and spoke to the cabin. "We'll be underway shortly." He almost smiled. "And we'll be on time." A ripple of small laughs moved down the rows. Relief breaking surface like fish at dusk. The tension's tight wire went slack without snapping. "Captain," the gray-haired man said, "may I?" "You may," the pilot said, somehow knowing the question. The man rose just enough to face Elias squarely. "Sir," he said on behalf of the people who were quiet when they should have spoken. He glanced at the bulkhead passenger who dipped his head. "We're sorry." Elias let the apology land. "Accepted," he said again, "because some words are meant to be repeated, hammered true." The pilot signaled the agent with a small, crisp motion. The agent went. The attendant touched the seatback near Elias's hand, a gesture like setting a teacup on a saucer without clatter. Jesse lowered his phone at last and pressed it to his chest. "Captain," the woman asked. Voice finding brightness again, "Can we? Should we do something?" "You just did," he said. "You watched, you learned, you kept your voices from making the wrong kind of noise." He shifted, ready to return to the cockpit. Then he turned once more to Elias, and in that same measured tone asked, "Would you like to sit, sir, after you?" Elias said. The pilot inclined his head, as if acknowledging rank, though no rank had been spoken, and moved toward the door. He paused there, a final check of the room. Rows of faces looked back at him, chastened, curious, moved. He let his gaze sweep them all, and then returned to where it had started, to the quiet man whose story had not been told and did not need telling. "Stop," he had said, and the plane had. Now it started again, not with motion but with meaning. The door eased shut, the lock clicked with the soft certainty of a decision made. For a moment, after the cabin held a reverent stillness, like the last note of a hymn hanging in the rafters. Then, as if cued by something older than schedules, all eyes turned to the veteran and stayed there, the silence full as ocean. The jet rolled to the gate with the kind of silence you hear when a room has already chosen sides. No one rushed for bags. They waited, half standing in thought, half seated in shame. The cabin door opened. Light from the terminal spilled in, ordinary and forgiving. A uniformed airline representative stepped aboard, pressed suit badge, clipped, just so voice rehearsed for every kind of weather. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said before deplaning, "begins I need to speak." She looked at Elias, then at the pilot who stood nearby like a sentinel. "We made a mistake. A serious one." The agent who had dragged Elias earlier shifted eyes down. The representative's tone didn't soften. "Ward, on behalf of this airline, I apologize for the treatment you endured. You should have been met with courtesy, not suspicion." The words landed like small stones dropped in still water. People shifted straighter in their seats. Elias held his bag by its handle, still upright in the aisle. He did not rush to answer. The silence stretched full of things unspoken. Finally, he said, "Respect isn't in the seat. It's in the way you carry it." The rep bowed her head. "You're right, sir." Jesse, phone still in hand, whispered, "That's going viral already." His clip had uploaded before wheels touched ground. In the glow of his screen, comments rolled faster than he could read. The gray-haired passenger added, "We'll share it with our kids. They should know." "Let's be clear," the representative said, turning to the rest of the cabin. "Every passenger here deserves dignity. Today you all witnessed where we fell short. That is not who we aim to be." The woman who had defended Elias earlier said, "Words are fine. What's next? We're already taking action," the rep said. "Staff retraining begins Monday, and a review of every procedure that allowed this lapse." She looked back to Elias. "Sir, if you'll allow it, we'd like to honor you properly in the terminal." Elias shook his head once. "I didn't ask for that." "No, sir," the pilot said, "but you deserve it." A murmur ran through the cabin. Not outrage now, but assent. "Captain," the rep asked softly, "may I escort Mr. Ward out first, together?" the pilot said. Passengers leaned back, clearing the aisle. For the first time, space felt like gift, not exile. "Mr. Ward," the agent said, voice halting, "I was wrong. I let rules blind me to respect. I apologize." Elias looked at him, calm as shore rock. "Apology is a start. Live the rest." The agent nodded, throat tight. Jesse whispered to the gray-haired man, "Did you hear?" He accepted. "Accepted," the man said, and handed back a task. "That's justice." They moved down the jet bridge. In the lounge beyond, a radio played faint oldies saxophone, soft against glass walls. Murmurs spread as more people caught wind of the story. Phones glowed with the clip Jesse had sent. The echo was already larger than the cabin. "Sir," the representative said, guiding Elias to a quiet corner, "we'll issue a public statement. But first I want to say thank you for your patience, for your example." Elias nodded. "Treat every passenger like they're carrying more than a bag, because they are." "Yes, sir." The pilot spoke then not to Elias but to everyone gathered near the lounge. "We fly because of people like this man. Remember that the next time you board." His voice carried steady as engine hum. Applause started hesitant, then grew until it filled the space. Not wild, but steady, respectful. Jesse lowered his phone. He stepped closer, hesitant voice, small. "Mr. Ward, were you really a SEAL?" The question hung like a bridge half-built, waiting for what would come next. The airport foyer had the hush of a weekday library light spilling through high glass onto terrazzo that remembered footsteps and goodbyes. Near the information desk, a small easel held a velvet cover. A laminated flyer on a stand read, "Quiet Valor Community Tribute, 2:15 p.m. People gathered without being told, to the way neighbors drift toward a front porch when the swing is moving. A custodial cart rattled past with a gentle diner clatter of stacked cups. Someone's phone played a sliver of oldies saxophone, fading as the volume thumbed down. The pilot stood to one side, cap under his arm, and the airline representative held a slim folder. Jesse hovered at the edge phone down this time, hands bare and still. Elias arrived without ceremony. His bag was small, his steps even. He paused under the skylight as if taking a reading, then joined the half circle. The representative cleared her throat. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Airports see people at their most hurried. Today we slow down to set something right. Our company is establishing the Quiet Valor Travel Grant, providing flights for veterans and their families for medical care and reunions." She nodded toward the easel. "And we'd like to place a plaque where strangers can become witnesses." The cloth lifted. Underneath brushed bronze held simple words. Quiet valor for the men and women who carried courage where no one could see it. We remember. We learn. We honor. Below the lines, a small emblem, no unit name, no boast, only the suggestion of a trident stem entangled with a single curve abstract enough to be a symbol, not a secret, revealed. A murmur moved through the circle, softer than applause. The pilot stepped forward. "Mr. Ward," he said, "this is not for one man." But it began with one. Elias set his bag down. He lifted his hand and laid the flat of his palm against the bronze. Metal held the days cool. For a breath, he closed his eyes the way a person closes them in a church, not to escape the room but to let it all the way in. The agent from earlier stood at the back, hat in both hands. His voice barely carried. "Sir, I'm here to say it again. I'm sorry." Elias did not turn him into a moment. He let the apology live in the air between them. "Apology received," he said. "Now make it useful." How, the agent asked. "Notice the next person sooner." The representative glanced at Jesse. "Young man," she said, "you filmed the harm. Thank you for also filming the repair." Jesse shook his head. "I filmed because I didn't know better. I put the phone down because I did." A small ripple of assent. Behind them, a PA announcement murmured gate changes like a distant river. Families edged past with strollers, pausing just long enough to read "Quiet Valor" and tilt a child's chin toward the bronze. The pilot looked at Elias. "Would you say a word?" Elias considered the way a careful carpenter measures twice. He kept his eyes on the plaque. "The strongest seat," he said, "is the one you give to others." The sentence settled where metal met light. A grandmother touched her chest. Someone's throat clicked with quiet emotion. Jesse wrote the line in his notes, not for the internet, but for himself. "May we quote you?" the representative asked. "You can carry it," Elias said. "You don't have to quote it." The pilot smiled at that, how a line about seats had so quickly become a lesson on carrying. From an overhead speaker, a faint porch swing creak of a hinge echoed the sound you hear right before a hymn begins. Not music yet, it cued the room to soften its edges. The representative turned a page. "The grant will fund its first flights next month," she said. "We'll place this plaque here by the foyer board, where the light is kindest. And once a year on Veterans Day, we'll read the names of those who taught us to be better travelers." Jesse stepped closer to Elias, voice small. "Sir, I asked before, and you told me to hold the answer. Can I ask now?" "You can." "Were you really—" He stopped, not because the word failed him, but because he had learned the value of leaving some doors closed. Elias spared him a glance as if blessing restraint. "You asked a better question in the cabin. How did you learn to stand like that?" Elias nodded toward the bronze. "On water," he said, "and among people who taught me what not to say." Jesse breathed out something unclenching in his shoulders. "Thank you," he said. The agent approached the representative. "Ma'am, about retraining, could I—" Help if you'll have me. You'll lead the first session, she answered. On listening, he swallowed. I will. A small boy craned up at the emblem. Is it a snake? He asked. It's a reminder, the pilot said, about going where it's hard. The boy's mother nodded in thanks and moved on, wheeling the stroller toward the light. The foyer's traffic resumed its ordinary weave, people late and early lost, and found yet those who passed the bronze now carried an extra second, a pocket of quiet tucked into their hurry. Elias lifted his hand from the plaque. The metal had warmed under his touch. He picked up his bag, tightened the strap, and turned not toward the cameras, there were none now, but toward the terminal's wide corridor, where sunlight polished the floor into a long, bright lane. The representative called after him, gentle. Mr. Ward, we'll be here on Veterans Day. If you're willing. If I'm around, he said. He took 3 steps, then paused. He looked back at the circle, not to claim it, not to control it, only to leave one more thing behind. Don't drum como kunfuk oketta magna, he said, giving the line to the room, like a coat handed to a cold friend. Respect doesn't live in the uniform. It lives in how you wear it. People held that coat for a beat, then put it on. The pilot bowed his head once. Jesse pressed the heel of his hand against his chest as if to quiet an engine there. The terminal swallowed the moment and also didn't. Elias merged into the moving crowd the way a figure leaves a porch, and the swing's last quiet creak keeps time for a breath after he's gone. Somewhere behind him, the plaque caught a blade of afternoon sun and sent it into the foyer like a soft cymbal ringing only for those who were listening. No one announced a departure. The board flipped letters. The grant had a name. The lesson had a wall. And the story, which had never been about noise, found its place in strangers who would carry it farther than any flight. The terminal slowly returned to its ordinary rhythm, but a new note lingered like steam rising off a diner mug on a cold morning. Strangers who had once looked away now stood a little straighter, carrying the echo of one man's quiet dignity. His words about respect and his hand on the worn plaque traveled farther than any announcement, reminding all that justice is not in rules alone but in how we choose to meet each other. Kindness, like a coin slipped into a wool glove, warms best when given freely without expectation of return. And so the story endures beyond a flight or a gate rooted in a grant etched on bronze, carried in posture, proof that the strongest legacies are the ones left in silence where people remember to rise.